Hello, friends. Welcome to LeggLife podcast. My name is Adam.
My name is Sherry.
Sherry Beth, what episode is this?
17.
I'm so proud of us because I shouldn't say that, I'm going to knock on wood. We have not missed a week yet.
I know, we almost did.
We definitely almost did.
Yeah.
But we haven't. I'm not sure we've ever gone 17 weeks on the vlog
And
without missing a week.
Yeah.
So I'm very impressed with us.
Yeah.
And we've covered a wide range of topics on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And today is no different.
I came up with this one.
Today speaks with the randomness of our topics.
Yeah.
You did come up with this one. And it's so surprising to me because this 100% is like an Adam topic.
Sure, yeah.
Sherry Beth, what are we talking about today?
Conspiracy theories.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so we actually have these discussions often.
Yep.
In
Probably,
our
probably too often.
Probably too often. And here's how they generally go.
Oh, no.
There is some theory that is discussed. And Adam is like, obviously this is true. And I'm like, okay, here are the actual reasons why this is not actually true.
You guys, I am without a doubt the target demographic for anybody who is starting a new conspiracy theory.
Yep.
Because, like, I am so willing to, like, jump on board with anything.
You're, like, all in on anything. Like, it does not make any sense at all. And you're like, yep.
Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm in. Let's do it. And so what we've done, obviously, there are hundreds and hundreds of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And so we've kind of narrowed it down to some of the more well-known, some of the more kind of famous ones. Now, we're not going to have time to, like, go into what all of these conspiracy theories are.
Right.
So we'll give just, like, we'll kind of touch into them. But I'd encourage you that if any of these are interesting to you, if you want to know more, like, do your own research.
Yeah.
Go down your own conspiracy theory black hole. Because if the internet is good for one thing...
It's black holes.
Black holes and conspiracies.
Yeah.
Right? There's two good things for the internet. Conspiracies and black holes.
Uh-huh.
So, Sherry, should we just, like, jump into the first theory?
I think so, yeah.
And what do we got first on our list?
Oh, boy. We have JFK.
This is big for me, guys.
Yeah.
So, for a long time growing up...
Specifically the assassination of JFK.
Completely. Not his existence.
Not just his existence. We
Was
do
JFK
believe that he
a real
really
person?
actually existed.
The assassination of JFK. For a long time, the movie JFK, some of you will have seen it, was my very favorite movie. Spectacular movie.
It's so long.
It's so long, but it's so good.
It is so good.
And I fully understand that is a Hollywood adaptation of a lot of what happened. Mm-hmm. Again, the conspiracy theory is that Lee Harvey Oswald was not the person, or not the sole person, to be responsible for the death of President Kennedy. There were other people involved, whether that other people was like the FBI, the CIA, like Cuba, like whoever it was, that Harvey was, as he himself said, a patsy. Mm-hmm. In that. Mm-hmm. Sherry, what are your thoughts? Because I have gone down the JFK. In fact, I would argue that this conspiracy theory is the one I have spent more time on than anything else.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know your thoughts on this.
I don't know. I have not dug into it nearly as much as you have. I've seen the movie. Mm-hmm. And
you're welcome, by the way.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he was killed by a whole group of people who was, all these things behind it, or if it was just one person. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know where I stand on it.
So I'm actually glad that we're starting with this one, because I think this one sets the stage for a lot of what we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. And it's a good stage for conspiracy theories. Because to me, one of the things that makes a good conspiracy theory is this whole idea of, like, possible, plausible, unlike, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. And so to me, when I think of the Kennedy assassination, do I 100% know that it wasn't Oswald, that Kennedy was killed by somebody else? No. But here's what I know. When I look at the evidence, it's possible.
There's some red flags.
Certainly, there's some red flags. There's some things that make me think there may be more to this story than just, like, a lone gunman behind a fence in Dallas, Texas.
Right.
And
I actually agree with that.
And that's the thing to me when we're thinking of conspiracy theories. And we'll kind of talk about this. Like, do you think it's possible? Do you think it's plausible? Do you think it's unlikely? For me, I would say most of these are going to fall in the, like, plausible. Like, I'm not 100% sold on these, but I do think there's a chance, based on the evidence, that there's more to the story than we have seen, or that, like, we're commonly told.
Yeah.
What do you think? Fair?
Yep, I agree.
Okay, so now, Sherry Beth, moving into the next one.
Yeah.
Since we just solved the JFK assassination.
Did we?
Well, so here's what I'll say. My personal opinion, I don't think it was just Oswald.
like just one pissed off guy?
I don't
think it was a whole.
I don't
network
think
of
it
people?
was. I think there was more to it. Now, do I know if it was like I said, like the FBI? Do I know it was like that level? I don't. I really struggle to believe that like that one guy pulled that off.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Is like, so I would say that I tend to believe that it was not simply Oswald acting alone.
I would agree with that.
Hey, all right.
Yeah.
Good job. All right, what do we got next?
We're going to transition into other celebrity deaths.
Okay, good.
And we don't really have like a list of these. We're just going to kind of bring up a few and discuss. Elvis.
So a couple of these fall in like the same category. It's like, it's widely believed they died, but then there's like some people that are like, no, he's alive in Bermuda, right? And all of these celebrity deaths, at least, well, not all of them. The first two we're going to talk about, which are Elvis and Tupac, to me fall into the exact same category, where I don't believe those are true.
That they're still alive
somewhere? I don't believe that they're still alive, that they just like got tired of fame and needed like an out. You know what I mean? And like started a new life. You know, Elvis is like a lounge singer in Barbados. I don't believe that that's accurate.
Right.
So I would say that on like Elvis and then the second one, which would be Tupac, I believe that they actually are not alive. So I don't believe those conspiracy theories.
I agree.
Okay.
Yep.
But
and so the next one we're going to kind of touch on is Amelia Earhart.
Yep.
I do believe that she died.
Okay.
In a plane crash.
Mm-hmm.
Now so this is where it gets, where there's just so many questions.
Yes.
Where is her plane? Where is her body? Where is, what actually happened? I don't know. I think I did like a school report on her in like 3rd grade or something. And so it's been a minute since I've really actually like looked into it, but it's just like, there's so many questions surrounding her disappearance that, some people say like she made it to Africa and then she was kidnapped by a tribe and she's been living there and whatever. Like, I don't know that I believe that's true. Right. I think that her plane crashed probably somewhere in the ocean and the ocean is large and you just can't find it, but people want to explain it so much that, there's like the Bermuda Triangle like sucked her in and she's just stuck in there and like this time warp kind of thing. I don't know. The
thing that I struggle with Amelia Earhart is that even today we have plane crashes, commercial airliners that crash that we can't find.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like that's not what she was flying, right? Amelia's not flying around on a 747.
Right.
And so to me, it is completely possible that, again, like her plane crashes in the ocean, and of course we'd never find it.
Right.
Of course there'd never be any evidence. But I think you said something that's really important to this whole conversation is that like we want an explanation.
Yeah.
We want an answer, and sometimes when we don't have one, we make one up or we look for possibilities, or there's like, oh, I saw a photo of this tribe in Africa and there's a woman who looks like it could be her there, and so I agree. And the last celebrity death that we're going to talk about, I think the last one, is Princess Diana.
Yeah.
So the conspiracy theory around her is that it wasn't just a random car accident.
Right.
Instead, it was essentially an organized hit, kind of.
Right. Planned.
Yep. Right? Just because of everything.
Right. So this is another one of those stories where there's so many contributing factors that make me believe that this was not just some random car accident.
Okay.
And I don't know, but there's part of me that wants to believe that it was just a random car accident because she was such a good person. But, there's also stories and things that higher up people would want to cover up. And I think that this is probably one of those.
So for me, this is an interesting one because on one hand, I think there probably were people high up who were like, man, it would be great if she wasn't still around.
If she could go away.
Right? Like, I believe that was probably a thought by certain people. However, what I know about the car accident and the chase and all of that kind of stuff, like, it feels pretty, like, normal. Like, that, like, the way the accident happened, at least to me, again, as a completely, like, unknowing outside observer, that to me feels like probably what happened, but it's hard because it's like, well, you also can kind of understand why some people would want her to go away.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's tough because like there may be some like evidence or red flags, but it just
and that there's enough of those that like they're high enough and there's enough money backing them that they can make it look like an accident if they wanted to.
So to me, if I had to say, I would say I actually think Princess Di, that like that accident happened the way the news reported it, but there are some red flags. What would you say?
I agree. I mean, well, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I do think that, like I said, I think there's part of me that hopes it was just an accident. For the sake of William and Harry.
Totally.
That, their family did not have her taken out.
Totally.
I hope.
Yep. So moving on, we're getting into the big ones.
Oh boy.
Sherry, number 3 on our list. We've done JFK, we've done celebrity deaths. Now we're going to touch into aliens. Okay, and I actually want to preface this by saying, when we're talking about aliens, we're talking about other things. Like, we're not going to touch into, like, ghosts and spirits on this episode. Sherry and I have talked a lot about, like, our faith, right? That we are people who, like, we believe in the Bible, we're Christians, we have that kind of worldview. And so things like this, people are like, yeah, but where does your faith intersect, like, aliens? And I have no problem answering it this way. I have no freaking idea.
Same.
Like, literally no clue.
Not a clue.
And honestly, I'm okay with not having an answer to this.
Yeah.
On aliens, this is another one that I'm a big, big fan of. Super interested in. It sure seems like there's an awful lot of evidence, maybe a strong word, but it sure seems like there's an awful lot of things that point to the existence of something else out there that's doing a lot of flying around our world.
Yeah.
Now, some of it, I mean, to be fair, is the fact that we have very secretive governments who test things and who try things, right, outside of the public eye. And so some of it could be that, but it just seems like some of it is not that. And so do I believe in little green men walking around, or that like Roswell was littered with alien bodies? That I don't know.
I don't know either.
Like, honestly, I don't know. But this is one of those things that it sure seems possible or plausible just based on the amount of evidence that there's something else out there.
Yeah, and here's where I think my faith actually plays into this, because for me, I don't understand how God could create this whole huge universe with billions of galaxies and billions of like innumerable worlds and galaxies and solar systems, and like this, we have barely scratched the surface of our own solar system, let alone the billions that are out there. To me, it doesn't make sense that this God who can and did create all of this stuff put life on one tiny planet. That's it.
Hearing you talk just made me think of a line from a movie that I love, the movie Contact. And I'm going to get the line completely wrong, but the heart behind the line was like, it sure seems like a waste of space. Right? There's like all of this universe and then just us. It sure seems like a waste of space. And so for me, I just don't know.
Now, whether there's like the storyline of God created and then life form fell and then he had to send a savior, and I don't know if that storyline
Sherry just went deep.
Like follows on every planet and like life form place, but I to me, I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand the concept of like all of this space and then life on one tiny little planet in the tiny little solar system. Like, I don't understand that. What's the point of that?
No, Sherry, we're the center of everything.
We're not, though.
I will also say on this topic of aliens, there are some people that I know that I would say I very much respect and believe to be of sound mind, who have some stories that I can't explain away. And so I would say that lends this to me, that there's some things that I've heard that I'm just like, I don't know. I can't explain this one away. So to me, I would say plausible or possible of the existence of something. And when I say something, like, I don't mean like there's a worm on Mars, right? Like, I mean like some kind of a intelligent life form. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah, I would go farther than just possible or plausible. I would go likely.
Wow. We're going likely on aliens.
Yeah.
We need to make alien merch. It was just Sherry's hand likely. And then there's like a little green man next to you. So we need to get a designer on our alien merch quick. The next thing we're going into, Sherry, now Now.
Oh, jeez.
Now.
Ah.
We're going to spend the next 2 hours on the podcast, friends.
Buckle up.
Because we're talking about Bigfoot.
Oh, no.
Heck yes, we are. You guys know my love for Bigfoot. Now, I'm going to be totally honest about something right from the very beginning. My love for Bigfoot is as much, no, I would even say is more about my love for Bigfoot culture as it is for like my belief in the actual possibility of a Bigfoot itself.
Yeah.
I love the imagery. I love the idea. I love the merch. I went to the Oregon Bigfoot conference for goodness sake. Like I'm into
You sat
it.
in on the little like talks.
Of course I did. What do you mean I sat on the little talks? Of course I did.
Oh my gosh.
Here's what I would say on, no, I want you to go first because people have heard me talk about Bigfoot. Now let's hear Sherry talk about Bigfoot.
Not a thing.
Not a thing.
Not a thing.
At all.
Here is my
Oh gosh.
my logical explanation for why I do not believe that Bigfoot is actually a thing.
Got it.
I work at a company that sells cameras with night vision and infrared and all kinds of stuff
Can I
on
get them
them.
to give me like Squatch cams that I can go put out in the woods in places that I believe Sasquatch could be? Can your work please? The LeggLife Squatch Cam? Sherry, we can stream it live on LeggLife.
We could also not. So here's my thing.
Okay.
With all of the technology that we have, especially today, but also in the past, like, 100 years, how is this one creature just completely unable to be captured? And actual, like, real actual photo evidence. We have footprints, and we have nests, and we have whatever, but, like, we have no actual photo evidence of this creature, which to me is there's not a possible way for this to actually be happening. With the technology that we have, you can detect a bug moving on a limb 100 miles away, and you can't find this huge, like, 7-foot creature. No, not a thing. It is not a thing. It does not exist.
Okay, well, first of all, I feel like you're being a little bit negative about Squatchy right now. And I'm going to need you to tone it back a little bit. I think those are all very good and misguided opinions.
Misguided?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. To me, honestly, the biggest and the best argument against the existence of Sasquatch is why in the world don't we have more evidence then?
Why are there only, like, weird fuzzy pictures or no
'Cause
pictures,
he's fuzzy.
but just like, no, blurry pictures. Or, just firsthand accounts of, I totally saw it. Dude, I promise. Okay, like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, stick a Polaroid out there that, like, you know what I mean? Like, anything could actually capture this thing if you were actually trying and if it actually existed.
So I think, here's what I'll say. I don't think the existence of Bigfoot is possible. Or is likely. I think it's plausible. And the reason I would say that I fall more to the middle, to the possibility of, and this goes back to certain, there's one person that I know who has a very, very, like, reputable career with, like, in some ways, a lot to lose if something like this came out. Who is an avid Alaska hunter, has spent, like, his life, his upbringing in Alaska, hunting bears, knows Alaska wildlife, had an encounter on the road to Fairbanks one night, and I remember him talking to us about it, that, like, to him, like, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, skeptic, not believer, to him, like, he doesn't know what that was, other than the fact that it sure as heck seemed a lot like this thing. Now, I hear a story like that, and then I think, it's like, well, I mean, now it's 2021. Yeah, like, can't we get a photo? We can't get, like, a drone? I can, like, drone a forest, and I can't get him?
Right.
And so I agree with that argument. I just feel like, is there the possibility, is it plausible at all that there is something out there that lives deep in the woods, deep in the forest,
and can somehow
avoid
stay away from all technology?
He's really good at it. hide and seek champion since forever.
Yeah, that's true.
That's Squatchy. I love him so much.
Oh, okay.
He just makes. I'm looking at the Sasquatch like statue we have up
staring at
across
me
from
and
here,
it's
and he's staring.
Creepy.
He's staring at you because you doubt him.
Well.
But he believes in you.
Okay.
So I would say for me, my joking about Sasquatch, my joking about Bigfoot, just so you guys know, is not because it's like, oh God, Adam has lost his mind. He's sure there's Bigfoot. I love the culture. Like the culture of it is kitschy and fun and kind of like roadside attraction-y.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. Now, am I gonna lie? And if I got a phone call from somebody being like, Adam, we want you to come on a 3-day, 4-night Sasquatch hunt, I'm packing my damn bags because I'm going on that hunt without a doubt. Like, let me be very clear about that because that sounds like a blast. So if anybody out there has contacts with Sasquatch hunts, reach out. I want to go. But yeah, my love for Sasquatch really is about like the kitschiness of the culture around it, rather than my belief that like these things for sure exist.
Yeah.
I do want to catch him though.
Well,
would that be amazing? What if that was our first viral video on LeggLife?
I caught Sasquatch.
I'm going to start titling all of our videos, I Caught Sasquatch. Not clickbait.
Emotional.
Story time. Oh my gosh. All right.
Man.
Well, you know what? That's enough about Sasquatch. We've talked enough about him.
And his non-existence.
And Sherry, why do you take these shots at me? You know how they make me feel.
Let's talk about something more exciting.
Oh boy. What do we
like
got?
the moon landing.
Taking a sip of water. The moon landing. Okay.
The moon landing.
The moon landing is, and so the idea behind this one is that we didn't actually land on the moon. The moon landing, the video that we saw, was basically faked. It was filmed on a movie set.
Yep.
Right? So let's talk about this, Sherry. Do you think we landed on the moon?
I do, actually. I did not hear this conspiracy theory until actually just like a couple years ago.
It's
and
a
I was
big
just
one,
like,
though.
I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe like this is a plausible one, I guess, but it's also just like, why make this up?
Mm-hmm.
Why get so many people involved, down to like the astronauts who had to go through all of this rigorous training and do all of this just so they could like land on a movie set? Like it doesn't make sense to me.
So to me,
millions and millions of dollars spent.
Well, I have a lot of questions about this one. And so on a lot of these, some of you guys are probably going to get mad at us because a lot of the things that we say could probably be like answered with a simple Google search. But like, I'm not doing that. We don't care enough, right? We just don't care enough. Let's be totally honest. This is not a research.
These are just conspiracy theories that we have heard.
This is not a research podcast. This is us ranting at 8 p.m. in the studio, right? And so to me, the questions I have around the moon landing, the biggest question is like, why? Like, what did we gain from that? Like, what was the big like gain from
the actual landing or from faking
from faking a moon landing?
Yeah.
Like, what was the gain of that? Now, on the other hand, one question that I've always actually had this about the moon landing is like we have that like one small step from right, like the whole like thing. It's like, how did the camera get outside? Like, there's a camera of him, like, walking on the moon. Mm-hmm. How'd the camera get there?
I don't know.
Like, did they... Because to me, here's what it feels like. You guys know, surprise, we're on YouTube.
What?
I know. And one popular thing that happens in YouTube and some channels, we don't really do this, is, like, somebody will, like, go into their hotel room and put their camera up and, like, vlog themselves walking in. So it's like, oh, look at my hotel room, right? Like, kind of the fake entrance. And so I'm just like, wait, did they, like, pull an early YouTube trick? like they're just like, hey,
they went out and they landed on the moon and they set up the camera and then they went back into the spaceship.
Yeah, the first,
and then came back out.
The first step on the moon was so that we could get the shot. Like, you know what I mean? And so, like, I do kind of, like, wonder about that. Like, who was that guy?
Yeah.
Like, who was their videographer? And so I would say I believe we landed on the moon. I don't know why it would have been faked. Like,
I mean, so the thought behind it being faked is that we were in this race with Russia about who could get there first,
and we just needed that victory against Russia.
Right.
See,
now
that to me is like
that's motivation.
That's motivation
to fake it, but it's also like it just doesn't make sense that we would have done that.
Yeah, I don't.
And that to this day, all of these astronauts that were there are like, nope, we did it.
Yeah.
Like this wasn't fake.
So I would say, so hold on, what's our rating scale? It would be like possible, plausible,
likely.
Like, I don't know how it would go. I would say that, to me, the moon landing conspiracy theory, I would say unlikely. I don't buy it.
Yeah, that it's faked.
Yeah.
Unlikely. Yeah.
Unlikely. So the next one we have, this is the next one, Sherry. We're going to talk about this one, and then we're going to disappear forever. like we're going to talk about this, and then there's never going to be another upload. All of a sudden,
There's going to be another celebrity disappearance.
LeggLife's yeah, exactly. LeggLife's YouTube channel is going to be mysteriously taken down. All of our identities will be scrubbed from the internet.
Yeah,
completely.
You can't even find Adam and Cherry Leg.
No existence.
Missy Leg does not exist.
No Missy Leg. Like, they're going to erase our Disney cruise history, everything, because we're talking about the Illuminati.
Yeah.
That was my attempt at doing like creepy music.
Now, confession.
Yep.
My full extent of my knowledge of the Illuminati is down to Dan Brown.
Yes.
In the books that I have read.
So, well, the hard thing about the Illuminati conspiracy theory is that it's so deep. Like we could do an entire podcast just on what people's thoughts are, because there's people that think they like control everything,
the whole world,
right? And not just now, but for like centuries.
Yeah.
And so, kind of the idea behind it, we'll take a very 30,000 foot like view of this, is that the Illuminati is this secret society that essentially has controlled governments, the world, like all of that stuff. Right. There are even like things that are built that are like Illuminati headquarters. There's just like, I mean, this goes deep. The Illuminati conspiracy theory will go as deep as you want to chase it.
Yep.
Totally.
And then deeper.
So Sherry, what are your thoughts on the fact that there's a secret society controlling the world?
I do not think that there is a society controlling the world. I think that there probably is a secret society who wants to control the world.
Interesting.
And maybe has lots of money behind them and can do these weird experimental, the ranch in North Dakota or whatever. Like, they can spend these millions of dollars and then just make it disappear. Or just do nothing with it because that's their headquarters now and whatever. I think that there probably is a society. I don't think that they actually have control over the world.
I think I would agree with you on that. I think that there, throughout history, have been groups of powerful and wealthy people.
Or power-hungry people.
Who have this insatiable desire to control and have authority and be in power. Right? I don't think that there's one group that has like been in control forever.
Right.
And so to me, the Illuminati is a fascinating idea. And I don't even doubt that like there's some truth in that.
In their existence?
Yeah, like in like that whole thing. So I would say like the existence of, I would say, yeah, plausible.
Probably.
But I would say the fact that like they're controlling everything, I'm going to say no.
Correct. That's where I'm at too.
Yeah, I would say no. Next.
Yeah.
This is something that I, full confession, I actually thought was a joke.
Yeah.
Growing up until, I don't know, I feel like a couple of years ago.
There was like a documentary on Netflix and we both watched it and we were like,
wait, what?
Huh?
So we're talking about
people believe this.
We're talking about flat Earth.
Yeah. Now,
here's what I want to say. And I'm going to say this about all of these.
Yeah.
I understand that there are people who have different beliefs and different things, and there are things that they believe to be true that we may not. And so I hope in any of this, you don't hear us like mocking you. Right. If you believe in any of this stuff. Maybe there's somebody out there that's like, I can't believe Adam doesn't believe in Bigfoot, right? Like, I would say like, we're having a discussion. We're giving you our opinion about this.
Yeah.
Flat Earth is, it's gonna sound weird, of all of these, it's the one that I'm just like, I scratch my head at the most.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what?
Like, to me, and, again, we don't want to offend people who, like, maybe truly believe in this, but
we kind of want to, but we're not going to.
We kind of want to. To me, this is one of those conspiracy theories that I'm just like, how is this even a theory? Like, this is clearly not true. This is, like, it does not make sense to me that this is even a thing.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And one of the reasons I struggle with this so much is that I have been on like the top of mountains in Alaska where you can with your eye see the curvature of the earth, right? And so like I don't know, I struggle so much with this, and I have a billion questions about flat earth. So flat earth to me, I would actually say probably of all of these is my most like do not 100% believe it at all. Not even a tiny bit, not even possible or plausible.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
Nope.
So we're not flat earthers.
No, we are not.
Huh. Curveball. Yeah. The next one, Sherry, this is the one that's close to home.
It literally.
Very literally.
Yep.
So some of you guys may be familiar with this. Some of you may not. I want you to look up. It's something called HAARP. HAARP. Now, there's a number of different things about what this is, but essentially, kind of the belief is that it's or was a government research facility just a few hours from Anchorage near the town of Glen Allen, Alaska, a town that we've been to like on our vlogs and all that. And this is an area which you actually can see on Google Earth that is basically filled. It's like just antennas. I mean, a huge area filled with like antennas. And so it is clearly a research facility, but some people have said that it does a lot of different things. Some people say that it's like the government developing mind control. Some people have said that it's the government developing weather control, the ability to like control and create weather patterns. Other people have said that it's like trying to like blast holes in like the atmosphere and the like all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
So there's a lot of like kind of conspiracy belief around this.
Right.
Now, the government has admitted that it's a research facility. It currently is actually, it went out of commission a few years ago, I think it was a few years ago, by the government, and the University of Alaska took it over. So it's now a state university research facility.
Yep.
So it's like the existence of this is not in question.
It literally exists.
It literally
You can
exists.
See it. Yes.
But what does it do? That's the question.
Right.
Now, there are, again, because this is in Alaska, there are people that have said, and I have not looked at how true this stuff is, that cases of certain things are much higher in the Glen Allen area, like in the areas surrounding it. There's a lot of like phenomenon that happened that, you know, something's going on. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I will say that I just don't know. To me, maybe,
Right.
like maybe there was something there. Do I think that there's the possibility of like additional sicknesses and illnesses for people around there? Well, yeah.
Sure.
It's kind of like living under power lines.
Right.
Right? It's like if there's that many antennas and if they're doing something, like I wouldn't be surprised that there's people around there.
Some kind of radioactive
Totally.
activity. Something. Right. Yep.
So that's the HAARP. Sherry, do you have any thoughts on that?
Nah, none more than what you just said. I mean, I'm sure that there are, you know, like you said, living under power lines. Like, there are things that happen to our bodies when exposed to certain electromagnetic waves over a long period of time. So the fact that there are all of these antennas in one tiny spot would explain some certain things in people that live in that area.
Yeah.
Now, whether that was like intentional or like the government doing mind control experiments or whatever, I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, we also all carry around phones that literally control our entire existence, and we have no problem with that. So
Yeah.
I don't know why this has to be such a big thing. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Now I want to talk, because we didn't touch on it earlier with aliens, but we're going to touch on it now with HAARP, about facilities that we know exist, but we're not sure why.
Like Area 51.
So about Area 51.
Yeah.
Area 51 is the supposed secret military base where they do testing for whether it's for UFOs or they keep aliens or like something happens there, right?
Right.
And there's been so much written, so much documented about Area 51. It's probably one of the biggest conspiracy theories out there.
Yep.
At least in the United States. To me, Area 51, I would say it is clear that there's something that is happening there or that used to happen there that the government wanted no one to know about.
Right. They intentionally covered up.
100%.
Yep.
Whether that was the fact that they were working on and dissecting and developing like alien spacecraft they had captured or aliens they had captured.
Right.
Or whether it's like that's where they were developing like spy equipment or planes in our battle against Russia. I have no clue.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe that's where the moon landing was filmed. Right?
Right.
Totally possible.
Could be.
Could be. And so to me, Area 51 is one of those things like I would love. Of all of these things, probably Area 51 is the one that's like, man, I want to know everything.
I would like to know. I would like to, like get a peek behind that door.
Why has it been so secretive?
Why? Yeah.
Like,
if you're not hiding anything, government.
Well, I think the government would admit that like they're hiding stuff, but they would probably say that the stuff they're hiding is like it's developmental tech.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the military is not going to be an open book because like we're in battle or whatever. And so they have to develop things.
Looking for that edge over
Yeah, exactly.
other countries and whatever.
Yep, we have to develop things in secret.
Yeah.
So they'd probably say that that's what they're using that space for. I'm just not so sure.
I'm not sure either.
What if it's just, oh my gosh, I just had a thought.
Oh, no.
What if Area 51 was just full of Bigfoot?
That's where they all hide.
Oh my gosh.
They're like airdropped down to like leave a footprint and then brought back out and like taken back to Area 51.
See, now this is a conspiracy theory I want to go down right now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, just like a whole.
And they use HARP to like disable all the cameras and infrareds and everything around so they can just like drop this footprint and then leave again.
See, I'm hooked right now. This is why I get here, Sherry, because now I'm believing this is possible. So we have one more.
Yeah, and this is probably gonna open up a whole big can of worms.
It probably is. And it's the thing that I want to say. We understand this is going to be controversial.
Yep.
But this is a thing that we simply have questions about.
Yes, and that's going to be our approach. Like, to me, there's so many things about this that I'm just like, yeah, but...
Let's talk COVID-19.
Let's talk COVID-19.
Oh, boy. So some of the conspiracy theories, no, I'm not even gonna say conspiracy theories, some of our questions around this are, and we have a bunch of them. Number one, like, was it monkeys? Was it bats? Was it at a market? Was it from a lab? Was it man-made? Was it natural? Like,
did it walk out of somebody's shoe? Did they carry it? Like, what? I just feel like the origins of this have changed 157 times.
We need a good origin story.
We do.
That's what we need. We need a good COVID-19 origin story that like sticks with it. Because I feel like we have heard multiple ones. And I don't feel like we've heard like the one.
Right. I feel like it's all just like smoke screens.
And the other thing, and this is the thing that then adds to that, and Sharon and I were talking about this the other night, is so we are not in the medical field, obviously. Right? We
do not claim to have any actual medical information.
100%.
This is just observations as people who have lived through this pandemic.
It has been confusing to us. Now, the other thing I will say is, I want to say this from the beginning. We are not people who are just like, it's just the flu. Right? Like, it's clear that this was not just the flu. We've never been like, it's just the flu, people.
Right.
But we shut down the globe.
Right.
Right? Like, and so to me, I've had this thought in the back of my head, like, were we ever told how serious this really was?
And that's my question. So to me, like, there have been other viruses and other diseases and other, whatevers that have swept the globe, that lots of people have gotten sick, lots of people have died, that did not shut literally anything down. And so to me, the fact that real early on, the entire world was like, what we need to do is we need to shut down to prevent the spread. To me, that raised so many questions from the beginning. So what was it about this that makes it so much worse than any other disease that has spread around the globe?
Yeah.
And what do people in higher positions know that they are not telling us?
That's where the conspiracy stuff comes in.
Yep.
Is that, like, we shut down the globe.
The entire world shut down. And there are still massive parts of the world that are still shut down.
Yep.
So what is it about this virus that has people with enough power to shut down the entire globe? What has them so worried?
Like, is it going to come out in, like, 10 years from now that like, oh man, we avoided by 3 days. You know what I mean? Like, some kind of like super bug that took out 3/4 of the world's population. Like what was this?
Right.
Because it feels like we don't have the full story.
Right.
It feels like we don't have the full story from the origin of it. It feels like we don't have the full story from the severity of it. In fact, now that I'm saying this, we were joking about us disappearing because of the Illuminati. This is probably it. This is
the world government is going to be like, who need to take out? It's actually Adam and Sherry Legg.
Right now we're going to hear, open up. It's like, oh gosh. And so that's the thing that, like, we just don't know. And I will also say, Sherry and I tend to be, you tend to be a skeptical person.
Yeah.
Whereas when somebody tells you something, you're like, let's look into this.
Yeah.
Like, let's see. Whereas I'm the kind of person who's just like, I've never met a conspiracy theory that I'm not down to get, like, on board with.
Right.
And so both of us, I think, are hesitant to believe a headline or hesitant to believe something, especially when it feels like the story changes or things don't line up.
Yeah, and I mean, so like, you know, the entire time it's kind of this been like this back and forth of like it's not that serious, it's very serious. I have always fallen on the it's very serious side because of the initial reaction of the entire world.
Yeah.
Shut it down. Nobody leaves their house. Like, you know, and, you know, part of it is like I read a lot of books and
What?
so like my brain immediately goes to, you know, these books where there was this huge virus that swept across the world and now there's 6 people left in the world. And, you know, like I've read these books.
Yeah.
And so
I love those books.
I know. Same. But like that's where my brain goes. And so I'm just like, okay, but like this was like in those books, it's this serious, horrible thing that wiped out like the entire planet. And so the fact to me that, you know, these higher up people who have the power to shut down entire continents, to like, what is it that they know that they're not telling the public? And not that I actually feel like we need to know every gory detail, but there has to be something worse than what they're saying this is.
That's my thing, is like I always felt like the things didn't add up. Like it was either worse or there was something we didn't know, or I don't know. Because it didn't feel like, and this is going to sound very callous maybe, but the reality is like we live in a world that is controlled by money and power. Mm-hmm. Yet even money and power took a backseat to this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing that like was always so shocking me. I was like, wait a second, like look at what we've done because of this. And so I don't know, I know there's a million conspiracies out there around why and who was behind this and why it did it and shut stuff down, but to me it's all like my questions are all virus related. Where did it come from? Right? And then like just how bad was this? Like how serious was this? Were we told the whole story or were we not? Right.
Yep.
So
I just have a lot of questions and I don't know if we'll ever actually get answers. And again, you know, I'm not saying that the public should know everything, especially if it is like a panic kind of thing. Like if the public actually knew what this really could do.
It would have created mass hysteria.
Like, yeah. So
did I just say hysterica?
You did, yeah. Oh, mass hysteria.
Hey guys, if you missed our last podcast, which was all about grammar, go listen to that one.
Yep.
Yeah, I just saw Sherry like change colors, flinch.
Yes. So, and I understand that. Like, if maybe it was bad enough that if they'd actually been very honest, that, you know, it just would have created this mass panic and it would have been worse. So for me, it just doesn't add up to me.
There's something that's not quite there.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And I think that COVID in some ways is different than a lot of these others because like we're in the middle of this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when I think of like JFK, I'm looking back over 40 years of now like writing and history and evidence and thoughts and opinions and stuff that's come out and all that. Whereas we're looking at this one right in the middle. And it's like we're looking at it in the middle being like, something doesn't seem right.
Right.
I wonder what it's going to be like when we look back on this.
Yeah, 10 years from now, are we going to have more answers or is it still just going to be this huge question mark? Like, what the heck did we do?
Completely.
Why did we do this?
We also, to be fair, are both just like naturally skeptical people.
Yeah, and just diggers.
Yep.
That's like, true. I want to know the why.
Yep. And the hard part about the world today, and this is one of the difficult things, is that there is so much that is out there that is presented as truth that is not backed up by any fact.
Right.
Right? I mean, you guys, if you have Facebook...
The list of the things we just talked about.
Yeah, it's like if you have Facebook, you know that's true. Right? Because you will scroll your Facebook feed and you'll have one person post one thing about COVID and then another person post the exact opposite. Both of those people genuinely believing that what they just said was true.
And usually... both intelligent people. And
the problem is that there's only one truth.
Right.
Right? I mean, it's like, I know that's not a popular thing to say these days, but like truth is like absolute.
Right. There's not like alternative facts. There's facts and then there's not facts.
Yeah. And so, so I would say that's the one we're going to end on is COVID-19.
Yeah.
Very curious to hear your guys' thoughts on all of this.
Yeah. And again, you know, none of these were like, this is what we believe is truth or like what we truly like would bend over backwards to prove. They're just theories and we can believe or not believe them and you're free to believe or not believe them.
To me, I'm not going to die on any one of these hills.
No.
Maybe with the exception of flat earth. That might be the one that is like...
That might be the one that I'm like, okay. But
come up to the top of a mountain with me.
Right.
It's no surprise to me that most...
Get it an airplane.
It's no surprise to me that most flat earthers are from Iowa. Right? It's like, well, yeah, it kind of makes sense.
It's very flat there, right?
Yeah. Your Earth
No, I
is
get
flat. Like, your Earth is flat, friend. So you guys, just so you know, what we've been doing the last few weeks, it's actually kind of starting to work, is there's not a great place to interact with you when it comes to podcasts, right? Because some of you listen on Apple, some on Spotify, some on like Google, wherever you may listen to us. And so there's not a great place to interact. So what we've been doing is over on our YouTube channel, there's a tab over there called Community. It says Community. And so we've been posting just like a little graphic for each week, basically asking you to interact with us around whatever the topic is.
Yeah.
And so if you have questions, if you have thoughts, if you think that we are absolutely morons and have lost our mind and are crazy for any of this, well, be kind.
Right.
But let us know.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to hear from you guys is I could do conspiracy theory podcasts once a month. Because we didn't even talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Right? We didn't even get into pyramids.
We didn't even really dig down into any of these.
We didn't even get into big pharma.
Right.
Oh boy.
I feel like that's less of a conspiracy theory and more just fact.
Well, I don't know about that. And so here's what I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from you. What are your favorite conspiracy theories that we did not touch on?
Yeah.
Because maybe we need to do another one of these.
Yeah.
So friends, over there on the community tab on the LeggLife YouTube channel, go interact around this stuff. We want to hear your thoughts. Friends, love getting to do this with you guys.
It's so fun.
Episode 17, Sherry.
This is crazy.
It
Go
is
us.
crazy. I'm having a blast, though. Are you still having fun?
I am, yeah.
Are you having more fun now that we got rid of those 2 questions at the end of the episode?
A little bit. Do you want to know, like, I still panic every time you're like, hey, we need to do a podcast. I'm like, oh crap.
You like flinch?
I need to come up with something.
So, Sherry, as we end the podcast, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. I'm just kidding. Friends, we love you guys so much. Thanks for listening to the LeggLife podcast, and we'll see you guys next Saturday. But that was a little bit better of an ending.
Yeah.
Because we've always wondered, how do you end this? Because we're not going to see you.
Right, well, you still said we'll see you. But it's
crap.
fine.
Just bye. How about that? Just bye.